Welcome to this week's episode of Talk of the Town. My name's Philip Swicegood, and I am back with my good friend and co-host, Dr. Kenneth Harper from Vein Specialist of the South. Now, if you have questions about your veins, maybe you saw a new vein pop up and you just want to get some answers about it, give Dr. Harper and my friends at Vein Specialist of the South a call, and they'll get you the answers that you deserve. We also want to thank this week's presenting sponsor, which is Piedmont Macon. Piedmont provides comprehensive quality health care for all of your medical needs. Thanks so much to Piedmont for investing in Central Georgia along with us and making a show like this possible. Now, if you're just waking up on Saturday morning, say it's 6:30, you've poured that first cup of coffee, you've turned on 13 WMAZ, and you're wondering, what in the world is Talk of the Town? What is this on my television? Here's what you can expect week in and week out. A conversation between me, Dr. Harper, and someone in the community that we think you should know about. This week is no exception because we are here at the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame with the executive director, Mr. Jim McClendon, and we are prepared to have a fantastic conversation, not just about sports, but also about music as well. Jim, thanks so much for being here with us today.
I'm honored to be a part of this.
So, Jim, you are a fixture in Central Georgia. I've never met you before today, but I've heard your name a dozen times in town. You've held many positions here in town, but I've got to ask you, what exactly was your first job here in Central Georgia?
My first job after college was working at American Office and Equipment Company. Tommy Armstead was the owner. I worked there for 2.5 years, and we sold Olivetti typewriters, which weighed about 50 pounds each. And I said, there's got to be an easier way to make a living. So I left there and went to WMAZ and 99 Ways Radio. I was one of the two salespeople in the organization for radio sales. Don McGuirk was the other one who grew up, of course, to be a manager of WMAZ TV. I actually sold the first FM commercial in Macon to a nightclub who has since gone out of business. But that was a long time ago. So radio was a lot of fun back then.
It's changed a little bit.
It really has changed, yeah.
So how long were you there doing radio?
I was in radio sales there for 24 years and 11 months.
Right.
And had the opportunity to buy the stations, which we did. Then we sold the stations, and I went to work at Cox Communications. I was vice president and general manager of Cable Rep, which was the advertising sales division. That was really my background. With a voice like mine, you would not hear me on the radio.
So then you wound up at the Sports Hall of Fame. How about that? Did you ever imagine you would be working with the Sports Hall of Fame?
I absolutely did not. The way that came about was one of my good friends was Bobby Pope, who was athletic director at Mercer University. But prior to that, he was the sports director at WMZ TV 13. He and I were just good friends. After I retired from Cox Communications, he asked me to come down and help on a project, which I did for a month. Then a year later, another project, and that led into a few more projects. And then the executive director resigned to go into a different industry, and they asked me to run it for a month, which turned out to be 13 months. Right. And after that, they hired another director who did not want to relocate to Macon. That was really a requirement back then. And so he left, and they asked me to step in and run it for a few more months again, which I did as interim. And then still here. Right. Years later, they finally officially made me the executive director of the Sports Hall of Fame, probably because nobody works as cheap as I do, I guess. It's been a good fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Right. So the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, the entity was created in the 1980s, late 80s, 90s.
No, this building was dedicated in 1999.
Right.
But the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame goes back to the late 50s.
It had a different name, though, didn't it?
Well, it did.
Right.
It had several iterations of names, but the one we go by is the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame.
Right.
And oddly enough, you don't have to be a resident of Georgia to be a inductee. You just have to have a significant portion of your athletic career in Georgia. So,
for example,
we have,
right.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't nominate Mr. Swicegood here. I
could. Yeah.
I played middle school football with the best of them. You know, I mean, if that counts.
There's a place for you up here.
There's a place for me in the rafters, baby. That's right.
He is a Tennessee fan. Is that a problem?
Well, we do have some Tennessee fans out there. You just have had to play either have to be a resident of Georgia or played a significant portion of your athletic career in Georgia. So we have a lot of people that a lot of Georgia residents have actually played for Auburn University, the University of Alabama, other schools, but they're all members of our Hall of Fame.
Right.
Can you
They-
say Auburn University in
I
this
did,
building?
I
Is
did.
that fair? Okay. I
I
just
did.
want to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Jim, I've got to ask you this though. So we're in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
This building has been here for a long time. There's tons of really fascinating artifacts in here
Absolutely.
that a lot of people might not know the extent of or know the background. If you could pick one artifact in here that you'd like to highlight and tell people about, what do you think that would be?
I think it would be the Hank Aaron exhibit we had 2 years ago when he, on the 50th anniversary of his 715th home run that he broke in Atlanta, broke Babe Ruth's records. Uh, I remember watching that game on TV and seeing history in its making. Then it doesn't seem like it's 15 years ago, but it really is 50 years ago. But we had a great exhibit for that. The other one that really comes to mind, I think, is when we celebrated the Negro Baseball League being accepted by the Major League Baseball, which allowed them to receive the benefits, retirement packages, things of that sort. We had a great weekend here, brought in a lot of the Negro Baseball League players, and it was just a wonderful weekend of giving them the recognition that was, frankly, was well overdue. It was a good weekend. Heard so many interesting stories, and it's just a great time. Those would be the two biggest events for me right now.
That's fascinating. Isn't there a plaque at Luther Williams Field about the Negro Baseball League? Is
Yes,
that
it is.
correct?
Yeah,
That's
it is, yeah.
You have the typewriter career, the radio career, you have the Sports Hall of Fame career,
Absolutely.
and you got another career that a lot of you may be even better known for that career than all those others, even though they're quite impressive. Have y'all ever heard of the Grapevine Band? He's one of the co-founders of the Grapevine Band.
I am.
So tell us, if they haven't heard, tell what the band does, where you
Yeah.
play, and
It's been a good ride. This is our 38th year, which is I never thought it'd go past 2 years. Most local bands just don't last that long. But
Yeah.
we got started, did our first gig in 1987, and we did 3 shows. In fact, we opened for a group at the Macon City Auditorium called the Jesters out of Athens, and they were kind of our role model. That's who we wanted to grow up to be if we ever grew up. But when we played for them, there was 8 of us on stage. We played for 1,000 people, and we played all 5 songs we knew. And thank goodness nobody asked for another song. We didn't know one, so
You'd be duplicating one, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Be an
Brought
encore.
down by popular demand. Yeah. But it was a fun time. We've been so blessed to play as long as we have, and we had pretty much the same core group. We've had a few people leave over the years, and of course, 4 years ago we did lose one of our key members, Larry Lee, who passed away due to COVID. We really miss Larry, but we still carry the torch, and he is our inspiration to continue with professionalism that we have.
all right.
For someone that might not be familiar with your band, walk us through where you guys play, what type of music you guys play. Give us some background.
It's primarily Motown music from the 60s, but we do a lot of other genres of music too. We do a few country songs, we do some Chicago if we're in a concert, because we have a big horn section. We have a trumpet, trombone, and saxophone. I usually have 10 guys on stage. Sometimes it's just 9, but we joke about if we had 2 more people, we could do a halftime show at a football game. It's a lot of fun, but we had gotten up to almost 60 shows a year, which was just way too much. So when we had our 35th anniversary at the Macon City Auditorium, we made the corporate decision to reduce the number of shows, and we got down to 15 the next year. Then everybody missed it, so we missed it, and clients were calling us, so it picked back up. It's between 25 and 30 shows a year now.
So this episode will be airing in June.
Mhm.
Do you know off the top of your head some dates and some places that you guys will be playing around town this summer?
We don't play much in the summer. We take June and July off.
It's too hot.
June and July off, but we do play in August.
Right. So you play the drums,
I play the drums.
and you play another instrument.
Just the radio. That's
So-
it.
The radio.
So, can you dance like some of the guys out front?
I do get out on 1 or 2 songs, but
Who's the best guy out? That's the tambourine crowd, right?
well, his name is Robin Hughes. He's an interesting person. He was a retired federal chief probation officer. He had everything from Macon South to the Florida line. He was also a retired 2-star general in the Georgia Army National Guard. He was commander of the 48th Brigade. for a period of time, which is located here in Macon. And oddly enough, he and I went to college together, but we didn't know each other. And it was a small school. Go figure that. But we both went to North Georgia College in Dahlonega, and he transferred to the University of Georgia after his first year. And but I didn't know him at that time. But we were getting ready to go to a gig at my office one time, and he saw the picture of the school on the wall, and that's how we made that connection. But he's been a great friend for many, many years prior to the band, really.
So do you have a favorite song right now that you like to play? Do you like to do that drummer, solo thing? Do you do that?
No, I'm a firm believer that the only people that enjoy the drum solo is the drummer. It's not really a good crowd appeal song. A lot of people disagree with that. This is my personal preference. But since I'm old, I can't do all that stuff anymore.
Do you play any instruments, Dr. Harper?
I have in the past.
You have in the past, really?
Yeah.
Which ones do you play?
I played the trumpet, I played the piano, and the obligatory where your parents made you take piano. And then as soon as it came up, the band came around, I just said, hey, how about me switching over? So I played the trumpet for a while.
Good.
How about you?
There you go. I played the guitar and took guitar lessons for 3 months when I was in high school, and I never will forget. The instructor looked at me and said, maybe this isn't for you. So that was the last time I played guitar, and here we are today.
Yeah.
So people kind of like to, I think about how the museum is run, the board of directors, and where the finances come from. Everybody worries about their taxes, and they need to know there's no local taxes.
There's no local or state tax. Right. We are governed by the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame Authority, which is a 9-person authority. 5 are appointed by the governor, 2 by the lieutenant governor, 2 by the Speaker of the House. But we have not received any funding since 2010. The sitting governor at that time eliminated those funds. So every dollar that goes into this operation, we have to raise.
Wow.
The only real support we get is through the hotel motel sales tax through Visit Macon. And that's a godsend for us. It's really helps keep the doors open. But we receive revenue from donations, contributions. We're setting up an endowment plan. We generate revenue through rentals, tours, admissions, things of that sort. We rented this facility in our last fiscal year about 188 times.
So how do you, if you want to rent it, what do you do?
Call.
Call.
We'll take care of you. And we feel like we're one of the best deals in town, because other rental facilities, they charge you for so many different things. We just quote you a fee, and that's what it's going to be. We don't charge you extra for tables. We don't charge you extra for chairs at the tables, things of that sort. We just give you it's the drive-out price, so to speak.
So if you've never been here, the theater room is pretty fascinating way it's built.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about if they've never been there, what that's like.
It's patterned exactly like an old baseball stadium, and the mural on the wall in the room is the Atlanta Cracker Baseball Stadium in Atlanta. It seats 205 people. We have state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment. We have a lot of continuing education seminars that have a lot of their meetings in there. Of course, the screen is computer friendly, so people can bring in their flash drive and do what they need to do their way, or we can show movies periodically. So it's a very nice venue for that.
Yeah.
So Jim, we're in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. I want to ask you about your favorite moment in Georgia sports history, but first we have to take a break to hear a word from our sponsor.
Cramping, burning, swelling. Don't let varicose veins ruin your personal best. Get back in the game with Better Veins for Life and improve strength, energy, and performance. Walk in, walk out at Vein Specialists of the South, where getting back in the game starts. Call Vein Specialists of the South today.
Piedmont Macon is proud to be your partner in healthcare, in business and in the community. From our 2 convenient hospitals and ERs, our cardiac program, women's services, and urgent care centers, we provide Middle Georgians with comprehensive care close to home. Our goal is to empower you through great care that's simplified, unified, and easier than ever to access. Our mission is to make a positive difference in every life we touch. We want to be part of your family and your life and to make our community a better place to live.
Are tire prices going to be affected by tariffs? Yes. Is Rafield Tire Master going to help you save money? Of course we will, with our Beat the Tariff sale. Right now, when you buy a set of 4-passenger or light truck tires, any brand, you'll get a $100 instant service rebate. That's $100 off Michelin, BF Goodrich, or any other brands at one of our 6 Rafield Tire Master locations in Macon or Warner Robins before the savings are gone.
Everything is getting smarter. Good Think Flint Energies has the knowledge and expertise to help you make smarter work harder. Today, there are more ways than ever to make your world more energy efficient, and we can show you how. Take the next step to go electric and put the power of your co-op to work for you. Flint Energies is a Touchstone Energy Cooperative, your source for power and information.
Hey y'all, Lane Southern Orchard's sweet and juicy peaches are now in season. Pick some up at our roadside market in Fort Valley and shop for other fresh seasonal produce. Enjoy our all-you-can-eat salad bar from 11 until 4 at the Peachtree Cafe. Make sure to save room for one of our delicious homemade baked goods. Then let the kids play on our farm-themed playground. Lane Southern Orchard's I-75 exit 142. We hope to see y'all soon.
This is the Medical Minute, where we ask Dr. Harper your vein-related questions. Dr. Harper, the question this week is, does exercise cause varicose veins?
Exercise doesn't necessarily cause varicose veins, but if you have an underlying issue with your veins, then it may worsen the condition. So if I'm like you and you're aspiring to bench press like 300 or 400 pounds and you had a little problem with your veins, then that could exacerbate the problem and maybe cause you to have some varicosities. The proper thing to do is we encourage exercise. That's part of a regular Better Veins for Life protocol, and that's walking, running, maintaining a healthy weight, and some resistance training. I've always been a proponent for lower weight, higher reps, and the right breathing technique that you exhale when you're lifting and you inhale when you're relaxing. So if you do that, it's great to exercise. If you do notice you have some varicose veins or bulgy veins you're concerned about, you probably should get them checked out, and we'd be glad to do that for you.
All right, so if you have questions about your veins, give Dr. Harper and my friends at Vein Specialist of the South a call today. Welcome back to Talk of the Town, where we are here at the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame with the one and only Mr. Jim McClendon, and we're having a fantastic conversation about Georgia sports, music, and other great things happening here in Central Georgia. Jim, I've got to ask you, again, we're in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. It's the obligatory question.
Yeah.
Out of all history that comes down to any sports team in Georgia, the Braves, UGA, the Falcons, which moment in Georgia sports history do you think is your favorite?
Personally, I think when Georgia won their second consecutive national championship, that was just a historical moment, and took a lot of pride in the local school that finally got on the winning side for a change, for a national championship. But they did a great job. They owned the field that day, just like they did the year before, and they won the first national championship. But that was a very, very great moment in Georgia sports history.
Dr. Harper, do you have a favorite moment? I got to ask, because you've been here a long time.
Well, you probably remember when they announced the Braves were coming to Atlanta. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was pumped. I don't know, that was 66 or something like that. And I would listen to them on transistor radio at night, and they played the West Coast mostly. And so I'd be up to 1 o'clock in the morning listening. My parents didn't know. I did do that, but sorry. But anyway, but my favorite is when the Braves won their first World Series in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to be at the game. Were you at that game?
I didn't see you that night though, but I was there.
Right.
I was fortunate to take my dad and my brother and my son. So we had a great time that night.
Did you get a good picture?
I did. Dave Justice hit the Braves won 1-0, 1-0, and he had a home run. And I just happened to pick up my old Canon 35mm camera when he was at bat. I just shot some took some still shots of him, and one of them happened to be when he was swinging the bat. So it was a.
Really?
I'll sell it to you
You should have that. Should be down here in the Hall of Fame.
if I could find it. It would be.
My friend Jeff Batcher, and he's got the RBI baseball
Right.
deal in Macon, which is really awesome for our community and for kids from around the area. But he was telling me last year about the Major League Baseball playing historic stadium. I think they were in Alabama. I don't know if it's in Birmingham.
I think so.
And he and I were getting an idea whether we could maybe have that game played one year in Luther Williams Field. And we were wondering what you thought about that. And
I think it's a great idea. I would love to see that happen. Luther Williams is just such a historic field. And so much history has taken place there, and so many great moments in sports history have taken place there. And I think it'd be very fitting for the Atlanta Braves and somebody else to come to Macon and play a game.
Right. Or maybe they bring a minor league team back here, maybe. But I was going to pitch it to the mayor here on live TV, well, recorded live. Yeah, I think we should redo Luther Williams Field, put some condos in the outfield, make it a place, a destination people live. I think that would be a big boost. Maybe we could get the Major League Baseball down there for a game.
That'd be great. They have a lot of room to
Right.
put condos and
Right.
other things there, so I think it'd be
Yeah.
a great addition to the city of
Yeah.
Macon.
And there's just truly so few places like that have that amount of history,
Yeah.
that have been in existence that long. And it's like if Major League Baseball were to do something like that, that would be a game that would have so much meaning and would just impact so many people.
It would.
Okay.
It would.
When we're kind of back to the Grapevine a little bit,
Yeah.
tell us the most likely venue we would find you guys. You're doing about 30 shows a year now.
Yeah.
Is it usually weekends, or where do you like to go? You got a special places you like to be?
Well, we don't have a special place as such, but the type of shows we're playing is different now than what it was even 15 years ago. We still do a lot of weddings, but at one time about 50% of our shows were wedding receptions. Now it's down to about 25%. We still do a lot of weddings, but not quite as many. Do a lot of fundraisers. 2 weekends ago, we were in Albany on Friday night for a Alzheimer's benefit, and then in Columbus on Saturday night for a benefit for their dance club they have down there, and then just different places. But we played all over Georgia, Carolinas. I guess our longest road trip was when we played for the National Republican Convention in Tampa, Florida, years ago on Labor Day weekend. And it's just as far coming home as it was going down. So that's a long road trip.
So if you go, most of you have probably been to a Grapevine event, but if you've never been, it's a good date night.
Yes.
Tell people what they would expect if they've never been. What's going to probably happen, and what kind of fun's there?
Well, what's probably going to happen is they'll have a great time. It's good dance music. It's amazing to me that most of the music we play, the bulk of it is from the 60s and 70s, which is 50, 60 years ago. But a lot of the audience we play for is not anywhere near that old. So it's music that they enjoy hearing on the occasion. They certainly 30-year-olds know most 30-year-olds won't listen to it every night, but they do come to parties and have a big time with that. We play for college fraternities on a regular basis, which is always kind of interesting. We feel like we're playing for Animal House when we do that. It's a lot of fun. But most of the events we play are going to have 200 to 300 people in attendance. It's good dance music. It doesn't. The lyrics don't offend the older people. The younger people have fun with it too. So it's good party music. But we usually play. We're usually on stage 3 to 3.5 hours. We don't play nonstop anymore. You see all this white hair. That's why. But we do. Usually if we play 3 hours, it's 2 sets with a 15-minute break in between.
So do you have to practice?
We do. We don't practice much because My Girl, Mustang Sally, songs like that haven't changed since the 1960s. So we know those pretty well. We do pick up new songs all the time, though. When I say new, let me qualify that. The bride may want a specific song for her wedding reception. It may be one that we don't do. So we'll learn that and play that song for them. We'll make sure we we play it live. We try not to do anything on the iPod like that.
So what did you add this spring? You can think of any song that was new you added to your list this spring?
Yeah, one of the biggest songs, biggest hits recently has been Tennessee Whiskey at wedding receptions, but we're doing a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire too. They came through making at City Auditorium a couple of years ago, and we enjoyed them. So we thought we'd pick up a few songs from that. So we do a good medley of September, a couple of other songs that they do, but September is probably the biggest song that we play that goes over really well with the crowd.
So when you think about legacy for the Sports Hall of Fame and like the next 3 or 4 years, what would you like to see accomplished down here? What are you and the board talking about that you would like to see happen and how that might impact the community?
We need to upgrade our interactive exhibits. Some of them are old, they're from 1999, and technology has certainly changed in the last 26 years. So we need to upgrade those. We have done that to a certain extent, but not as much as we need to. We try to be very relevant to particularly high school kids. We've got a great video that we just redid the second time a couple months ago, and it interviews a lot of the Hall of Famers, and it talks about the obstacles they overcame in their childhood growing up. Some of them broken homes, some of them, a couple of them even the worst case of that. But they knew to set a goal, to commit to that goal, to be disciplined, to stay on top of what they had to do. They also learned the value of teamwork, and those are all life characteristics that you can carry on, not just on the field of play, but also in your personal life as well as your business career. So those are all things that we all should subscribe to. But we try to make a real impact, particularly with middle school students, because they're too often in today's society, they're at a crossroads, and we try to help them steer in the right direction when they hear some of their role models, like a Brian Jordan with the Atlanta Braves and Atlanta Falcons, probably one of the last true two-sport athletes. But when you hear him talk about what it took him to accomplish what he's done in not only in the athletic field, but also in broadcast, they get inspired by that. They're not going to get inspired by me, but they will be with these athletes. And so we try to make sure they get that message. It's a short film, so they're not going to go to sleep. It's only 15 minutes. Then they get to tour the hall and see some of the exhibits on display that way.
Fantastic. Jim, thanks so much for this conversation. And thank you guys for tuning in as well. You can stay tuned and watch us every Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m. only on 13 WMAZ. And you really should stay tuned because you never know where me and Dr. Harper might show up next.